Hold onto your handlebars because today's episode of Wham Bam Dashcam is unlike anything you've seen before. From unbelievable wrecks to satisfying instant justice, this collection of fan submissions will leave you speechless. Brian was headed to pick up a friend from the airport in his Honda CR-Z, but after what we're about to witness, his friend had to call for an Uber instead. While moving at around 65 miles per hour, Brian suddenly encountered debris in the road, but he had no chance to slow down or swerve before running it over. The impact sent his Honda out of control before it slammed into a cement barrier. The car then ricocheted back across the road and hit the barrier on the other side before it finally came to a stop. The multiple extreme impacts totaled the vehicle. Want to know what was in the road that caused this catastrophe? The road debris Brian hit was actually a transmission from some other vehicle. Brian has no idea where it came from, but now he's fighting his own insurance provider after they decided that the wreck was his fault. Brian sent us another video, but thankfully it wasn't nearly as disastrous as this one. We'll catch up with him again later in this episode. Forrest was driving down an Ohio highway in his Hyundai Elantra. As the lane to his right began to end, an Audi driver suddenly sped up next to him before hitting the front of his car as she tried to merge into his lane. Both drivers pulled over to exchange information, but the Audi driver didn't have any identification on her, so Forrest had no way of confirming her identity. He ended up calling the police to the scene just in case. He has since filed a claim with the Audi driver's insurance provider, but he sent us his dashcam footage before he'd heard back from them. This submitter was waiting at a traffic signal where an SUV driver had stopped completely past the crosswalk and into the intersection. Well, an unmarked police pickup truck wasn't about to let the SUV driver get away with that. The officer lit up his party lights and pulled the Mazda over for some instant justice while our submitter kept right on going. Riley was heading home when he watched a Nissan driver sideswipe a Toyota behind him before speeding off. Riley took down both vehicles' license plates as the drivers sped off, the Toyota driver in pursuit of the Nissan. He contacted the Cambridge police and provided them with this information as well as a copy of his dashcam footage. He hopes the Toyota driver was helped by this video, and he also wanted to shout out Vanessa, who watches our videos with him. McKay was driving home on slick, wet roads when he approached an intersection and stopped before making a right turn. As he turned right, he kept an eye on the Mustang behind him that had been tailgating him for a while. We're not sure what happened, but perhaps the Mustang driver spotted a crowd of pedestrians at the gas station and got excited. In any case, McKay told us they were able to recover after spinning out and hitting the curb. McKay told us he's become a better driver thanks to watching our videos. Not only because he's looking out for bad drivers, but also because he doesn't want to end up on our channel for the wrong reasons. Drive safe, McKay. This submitter was on his way to work when traffic in the other lane stopped. Suddenly, a BMW merged into his lane without warning, and without signaling, of course. Our submitter slammed on his brakes, barely avoiding rear-ending the BMW. He told us he doesn't know how he managed to go from 40 miles per hour to 0 in under 3 seconds, but I bet hitting the curb helped slow him down. While on vacation, Bailey loaned her Chevy Avalanche to a friend. Watch what happened when she was on her way back from a trip to Phoenix. When Bailey's friend noticed the van ahead of her slowing down, she slammed on the brakes and swerved. Once her tires hit the gravel on the shoulder, she lost control as the pickup barreled through the median. After launching off a U-turn road for emergency vehicles, the truck smashed into 3 huge trees before finally stopping. Needless to say, this was not the news Bailey wanted to hear while on vacation. Thankfully, her friend wasn't hurt, but the truck was totaled after the cost to repair it exceeded the $6,500 value. She told us she loved it very much and replaced it with another Chevy Avalanche a year newer. Brian is back with another video, but this one is from before his CRZ was wrecked by a random transmission in the road. One night he spotted something in the sky and raced to the top of a parking garage for a better view. Once on top of the garage, Brian stopped and took photos while watching the spectacular sight of a SpaceX rocket launch. This was the Starlink Group 716 launch, a Block 5 Falcon 9 rocket lifting off for its 10th flight. The rocket took off from the Vandenberg Space Force Base in California, and the booster landed itself on the Of Course I Still Love You autonomous spaceport drone ship. Cool! This emitter was leaving a school parking lot, and as he approached a four-way stop, he watched the driver ahead of him stop before proceeding with the right-of-way. The driver of a white car from the right proceeded out of order before hitting the car ahead of our submitter, sending it through a wooden fence after the driver lost control. Both drivers pulled over, as did our submitter. The driver of the white car admitted fault. Our submitter provided copies of his dashcam footage to both drivers, and thankfully, nobody was injured. Hammy was waiting at a traffic light, and when he got the green arrow for a protected left turn, he started making his way through the intersection until he noticed an oncoming SUV wasn't slowing down. Needless to say, Hammy's week could have easily been ruined if he hadn't been paying attention after the Ford Escape driver cruised through her red light without even trying to slow down. This emitter watched a pickup driver merge across a solid line into a lane that wasn't clear, forcing an SUV driver to swerve into an impact attenuator. Our submitter hadn't noticed the pickup's maneuver at first and assumed the SUV driver had been driving distracted, but it's clear from his footage that the pickup driver was the one not paying attention. He also told us his dashcam has saved his bacon twice already, once from a scammer and once in a hit and run. If you need a dashcam, check out our recommendations in the description along with coupon codes for our fans only. Emily tells us she has nothing against Teslas and even drives a Model S. But watch what happened when her son Aiden encountered a Tesla behaving badly while he was driving his Chevy Bolt.
That Tesla man can't drive.
Aiden's racing reflexes saved him from a head-on collision with a blue Model 3 when the driver wandered across double yellow lines. Thankfully, they'd installed the dashcam we recommend just a week earlier. Todd really wanted us to call his wife person throughout this next video. She was driving her Honda CR-V when traffic ahead of her came to a sudden stop, but the van driver behind her didn't notice in time. Todd's wife person pulled over, as did the van and the pickup. When the Washington State Patrol responded, she showed her dashcam footage to the trooper and he cited the van driver for driving too fast for conditions. After paying over $7,000 to fix the CR-V, the van driver's insurance provider offered an insulting amount to settle its diminished value. So Todd filed a lawsuit, which was settled 2 days before going to trial. After replacing the CR-V with a Honda Passport, Todd's wife person used the rest of the settlement to buy new shoes, a purse, more shoes, another purse, and a new summer outfit to match the shoes and the purse. Tyler was making his usual commute home from work when he was nearly sideswiped by an SUV driver. Say it with us, bad drivers never miss their exits. Thankfully, Tyler was able to swerve around the SUV and avoid a collision. At first, he thought the two vehicles had made contact, but when he stopped and checked for damage, he didn't find any. Eric watched an SUV driver begin making an unprotected left turn before realizing too late that an oncoming driver was racing the yellow light rather than stopping.
Whoa, what happened? Oh my god. Damn.
Even though the SUV driver hit the brakes, the sedan driver lost control after doing the same and slid into a head-on collision. Remember, if you can safely stop for a yellow light, you should. Other drivers are expecting you to. McKay was waiting in a turn lane on a windy day when he noticed what looked like some sort of automatic bed cover opening on the pickup truck in front of him. The pickup driver quickly pulled over to fix their bed cover. McKay told us he bought his dashcam based on our recommendation, but he didn't realize we had discount codes for our fans. Don't forget when you order yours. Matthew was driving his Chevy Cruze one night on a recently repaved section of road. He told us this road was reduced from 4 lanes to 2, and for months, drivers have been ignoring the new signs and road markings. An SUV driver in the left turn-only lane went straight instead, nearly sideswiping Matthew's car as it merged into his lane. When they both reached a red light, Matthew informed the SUV driver of their mistake. He told us they seemed clueless about what had happened, and since he didn't think contact had been made, he decided to let it go. It wasn't until he got home that he found a small scuff on his bumper cover. Our next video comes from Medical Lake, Washington, which happens to be where my wife and I go to church. We've literally driven through this exact roundabout dozens of times. Anyway, Mark had just accelerated to the speed limit of 55 miles per hour when the driver of a Ford Taurus turned across the road in front of him, forcing him to slam on the brakes. Mark told us he gave her a good long honk of the horn, but since the only harm done was to his heart, he kept on going. Thanks for the video, Mark. JP was headed home after work when he was sideswiped by a Nissan Leaf driver who made a right turn from the left lane. JP suspects the Leaf driver was on her phone as she was all over the place. She was able to leave after they exchanged information, but JP had to wait for 2 hours for a tow truck to pick up his Volvo XC90. The Leaf driver was found responsible, and her insurance provider paid almost $10,000 to fix JP's Volvo. He told us he and his dog Buster love to watch our videos together on the couch. Angie and her husband carpool each morning, and she had just dropped him off for work when she spotted a rabbit hopping down the middle of the road in downtown Edmonton. Aw, what a cute bunny. Angie headed off to work, but she told us the rabbit made her morning more fun. She wanted to shout out her amazing husband, and she told us they watch all our videos together. If you want to see more vehicles slamming into trees, watch this episode when a driver went off the road when distracted by their passenger. Or if you want to see more out-of-control Mustangs, check out this episode when a Mustang Mach-E wrecked while being chased by the cops.
Wham, bam, we got a Patreon man. Please support the show.